Well, hello, this is Rochelle, and welcome to my channel. I really fussed around with today's entry on Exodus, and the reason is it speaks about a sign of remembrance regarding the Passover and how the Israelites were to remind their children of what God had done and how God had delivered them. And so I know that with Creative Retreat this month, we're also doing the Stones of Remembrance, and I wanted to use it, but I wasn't sure how, and it really got me thinking. Why the importance of remembering? Why do we need to remind ourselves every now and again by signs of what God has done? And I think saying that out loud even makes me think of how silly that sounds. Art-wise, just quick, I'm literally just laying down some acrylic paints. I wanted to have like a background. I had highlighted the passages that I read in like a soft lilac, and just wanted a soft lilac background. And then I went and did something silly because I wanted to add like a frame, but then my framing was all wrong. And I kind of just went with it from there. I'm going to then stamp some and write some, and I used the Creative Retreat Kids April Stones of Remembrance Faith Art Box, and it in the end it worked. For me, this entry really was about the word and what it signified in my own life. So here's the thing. The Israelites became a murmuring nation when they were traveling through the desert. So what was supposed to be an 8-day journey took them 40 years because they were ungrateful. So as I sat thinking about this word on the signs that is needed to remember, and as we are stepping into Good Friday and Easter weekend and Easter Monday so that we can get to be together, I was thinking to myself how very important it is to remember. We need to remember the things that God has brought us through. And that in turn then cultivates a thankfulness. So in the Creative Retreat kit, there is this little poppy, well, 2 little poppy images, and the poppy is also used as a symbol of remembrance, and this is stemming from the First World War. So it's the symbol of remembrance because it was lying on the landscapes where the First World War happened. So it was a common sight, especially on the Western Front. And so they have these poppies actually strongly linked to Armistice Day, which is the 11th of November. And so it again had me thinking of remembering. There was a poem inspired by these poppies. It says in Flanders fields. So it opens with a reference to poppies being the first flowers to grow in this churned up earth of soldiers' graves. And so that was very interesting for me. I looked it up a bit while I was doing the study, while I was watching paint dry. Like I said, God really spoke to me about why remembering is so important. In the Psalms, it speaks of count your blessings. In other words, recall them and count them. Remember the many benefits of serving the Lord. Remember, and this word just kept on coming up for me in this passage and in this day as I was preparing my heart for Easter, preparing my heart for what Christ had done for us on Easter Friday, which in the Exodus study is a part of Passover. So it's like I said, I just really was so convicted to remember and then give thanks. So I spoke about giving thanks just a few days ago in a video on Philippians. The giving thanks part is so vitally important because it's the opposite of being ungrateful. It's the opposite of murmuring. It's the opposite of the thing that gets you walking around the desert for 40 years. So to be thankful then gets you into the promised land because you open the courts or open the gates with praise. You say thank you. You enter his courts with thanksgiving. So that gets you into the promised land. The Israelites here were on their way to the promised land. But our grumbling gets us walking around in the desert for 40 years. So if, like me, today you need to take a minute to remember the things that God has done for you, I want to encourage you and I want to challenge you to write it down, to have it somewhere in your face, to be so aware of it as it's around you that you will give thanks. When I see my daughter, I give thanks. The attack on her life before she was even born was fierce, and there was a race for time with Rebecca between me having a blood clot and her not feeding on the tube or whatever she was supposed to do to gain weight. And she was 5 weeks prim, and it was a race against time. Her life is a miracle. Her life is a sign for me to remember. It's there on her forehead. When I look at her, I see the goodness of God. And the same with Ruthie. She's a miracle. Jason and Megan are children that I prayed for, that my heart desired. I wanted a son more than I can even express, and here I have this young man who is everything that God has good for our lives. And so I'm thankful today. I'm thankful for children. I'm thankful for love. I'm thankful for second chances. I'm thankful for just everything that God does for us. And the reason why the psalmist says count them is so that you can name them and realize how many there are. So today, remember, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.